Well, hey guys, welcome to this next lesson. This is kind of an extra fun lesson in case you might want to reinforce what you can represent in the sense of armors and stuff. If you're still having any more doubts when coloring, I wanted to give you guys an extra lesson creating a series of armors, like in this case on the torso or arm or maybe on the back of the body, that we're going to be coloring with different metals. All right? You're going to see it's super cool. We're going to be coloring in silver, gold, and bronze. And in this way, we're going to be able to be seeing how the light, for example, can affect these colors. And if you like any of these drawing styles, you can use them in your arsenal, okay? It's for you now. All right, let's get to it. All right. This is a quick sketch of the structures I want these armors to have. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose a base color and apply it onto the background that I'm going to color. In the first case, you're going to be seeing a gray color with which we're going to be filling the first armor. And this is the one we're going to start touching up in color. What I'm doing now is erasing the inferior parts so that it doesn't interfere in the drawing. And here we're going to start with the base color base. So the first one is going to be silver, then bronze, and then gold. And as I was saying, the first step we have to take is to fill in the base color that we want to use in our armor. For example, in the first case, I want to color it completely in gray. And then from there, I'm going to vary the colors and the light tones so that I can apply, or not, different textures and, levels, I guess. So we're going to make the second one in bronze. I'm going to repeat the same step in both. And then the last one I'm going to use is in gold. So this gold one is going to kind of be like a back plate on the column. And yeah. And then we would have our three bases finished. I'm going to start with the one on the left. And yeah, so what I'm doing right now is kind of changing the line art. So I've gone to the layer where I made the drawing of the armors, and with Control U, what I'm doing is adjusting various parameters so as to add in color that fits more with the armor we're working with. Okay, so the first one, the light is going to be coming from above, and it's going to illuminate from the top, okay? So what I'm doing right now is just adding shades and adding light to some areas of the drawing so I can start to establish the volume we want the armor to have. Seeing as it's gray, the only thing I'm going to work on for now is the left side of the colors. I'm shading the areas that have some textures so that you can see better all the details. The closer the armor is to the light, the shinier it's going to look. If there's any textures areas, you just have to shade. And if there's any details in the light, the only thing you have to do is clear it. The brushes I'm using are basically some that have like some texture that are included in the Photoshop pack of CC 2018. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go along adding in some brightness on some areas of color that I'm going to bring more towards blue tones. And I'm going to be using some blend layers, like, for example, the overlay one, that illuminates with the used tone. Overlay and multiply are the ones I'm going to be using the most for this, for metals. I might also use screen as well. As you can see, I'm just going along illuminating little by little, creating that volume on our silver armor. There really isn't that much to it. I'm adding in some more illuminated areas, like scratches, as if the armor, had been used before. And now it's like kind of a little bit old, I'm using these lights with the brush on overlay. And now it's just a question of playing with the opacity and the blend modes. Okay, so right now I'm just adding in more blue tones to illuminate and give some more shadows. So in the case of metal, this is going to be a thing. Like some blues and some greens, they're going to transfer colder tones. With gold and bronze, we're going to be using shadows and lights that are warmer, all right? Not like blues and greens. If you're not very familiarized with the layers and the blend modes and stuff, I'm going to recommend that you just experiment little by little to see how each one can affect. So we have the light tones that are blue that we're going to work with layers of screen or maybe stronger light or lighter light, whatever you choose. Or overlay that are the ones that usually give these kinds of effects. Later on, we're going to give it that darkness with multiply. So what I've done right now is unify the colors. I selected all of the tones. I've hit Ctrl U and I've taken away all the saturation, and now I'm applying all these areas of lights with the screen layer on the layer above in blue tones so that I can leave this more or less like this. So this will be the silver armor done. What we're going to do now is move on to the arm. That's going to be in bronze tones. In this case, the light would come from behind the arm. So that means that most of the drawing is going to be in shadows. There's only going to be a few parts that are going to be illuminated. So I'm going to lower the tone even more in that bronze color. And I'm going to illuminate with a brighter tone of the same color those areas that are going to be reflected with light, okay? That have light shining on them. And then later, I'm going to darken even more those areas that are going to be in the darkness. With the same brushes I was saying before in the Kyle pack in Photoshop. I'm going to use these to apply these lights and shadows, okay? If you don't have these brushes, well, what I can tell you is that on the internet there are a ton of brushes with textures that might be better for you. It all depends on your tastes and on the results you want at the end. I'm going to go along illuminating little by little with a tone that's even lighter on the areas of light. And I'm going to try and darken even more on those parts that are hidden by the shadow that the arm is giving, okay? Well, from here onwards, what I'm going to be doing is going along lighting and darkening. I put in some new layers on multiply. What I'm going to do is completely darken it with a texture brush. I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit, and then I'm going to go along erasing a little along the exteriors so that I get a similar effect to this one. I'm still not satisfied, so what I'm going to do now is continue illuminating different areas as if the light was stronger than what it actually is. It's just a question of going along modifying until we're happy with the effect that we get. Now I'm using the areas that are more of an orange color, and I'm using the brushes in different modes so that we can get these yellow tones as well. Because I was saying that before I was illuminating with cold tones, but now I'm using warmer tones. In this way, we're not always giving that typical brightness that to me is kind of horrible with white light and that black darkness, okay? Try to avoid this as much as possible because that aesthetic, the result is just pretty depressing. Okay, so this will be our final result of how to illuminate copper, okay? And now we're going to go along to the gold one. Okay. And here the light is going to be, this time I'm not going to come from above, it's going to come from below. But this time it's going to have like a sort of lateral twist to it, okay? So the light is going to be really impacting on the right area, but not so much on the left. So using the same kind of tone, we're going to go along illuminating little by little and darkening. We're not using any blend modes for now. It's just a question of going along, using our imagination to put in the textures and thinking about what areas are going to be illuminated. And in this way, the most illuminated areas would be with a lighter tone. I'm going to do the same thing with the area on top. So it has this kind of weird insignia. And well, with this, we're going to be illuminating little by little with overlay and darkening with multiply, and we'll get something like this. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and you can apply it to your drawings from now on. And yeah, we're going to move on to the rest of the project. I can't wait to get into it. I'm going to be making each of our characters using everything we've learned. So yeah, let's get into it. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.